They're yours. Hit that one more time. I am the number one determinant of the success or failure. Here we go. Of my students. Hey, y'all, you have a strong summer. Kick some butt next year. Thank you. Appreciate you. That's the mindset. That's the attitude. Love you guys.
And we are live. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Come on in. Hit that share button as you come in. Hit that retweet button as you come in. Let them know that we're in week 85 of the virtual AP Leadership Academy. Let me see who we got here. We got Mrs. Yolanda McKinney in the building, Janine Wilkins in the building, Donna Scherer Gantz in the building, Jennifer Mortville Mopes in the building, Pamela Marcus, Demetrius Scott's in the building, keeping them notes for us too. Monica Welch, Darnell McElvin, Kimberly Charo Trim, Lily Lanier, Ohio Girl Jones, Rashard Davis, Tamisha Williams, John Hurricks, Lysandra Brackens, Bonnie Wilborn, they're all in the building. Brian Young, Stacy Mabry. I saw some of your colleagues out there in Atlanta yesterday, Principal Mabry down there at Innovative School Summit. Nicklin West, my wife, the Queen, Kimberly Broughton Kafele's in the building. My man, Principal Baggage, he gonna be on here one day. We let him get a little more experience under his belt, right? D. Walker's in the building. Tina Simpson, Principal Josh Tovar, Tony McClenny, Andrea Watts, Stephen Johnson's in the building. Grace Castaneda, might be Castaneda. Charlena Hottie, Sun-Kissed E is in the building. Rodney Richardson, Frederick Stamper, Melissa Jones Chunu is in the building. Alan Coart and Otis Kitchen, my man, Principal Kitchen. We're going to get him on here too. We just let him get a little more experience. Corleen Aura Bell Warren's in the building. Hit that share button as you come in. Hit that retweet as you come in. Hit those Facebook groups. Those educator Facebook groups, those leadership Facebook groups. Let them know. Let them know we're not going anywhere. We're in week 85. Got ahead of myself. Rashid Noor's in the building. Erica Blakey is in the building. Alicia Fisher, my man, Elmani Viney is in the building. We waiting for him to become that administrator and ultimately that principal, probably knowing him, superintendent, right? So, let me keep it going. Rochelle Gina Wilson's in the building. Will Turner, Juan Pablo Jimenez is in the building. C.T. Kirk is in the building. Adrienne Young is in the building. Elmani, I'm good, man. I'm on fire. You know, there's a lot going on in the world. We're going to talk a little bit about it, but I'm on fire nevertheless. My man, Principal Chris Gadsden is in the building. Lincoln High School, Jersey City. You know, he's going to be a guest on here soon. I think it's January or February. Stay tuned. Sherrod Lamont Laws is in the building. Stacy Joseph, A.T. Hayes, Gerard Phillips. Alinda O'Leary is in the building. Jennifer Desmond, all the way from Alaska. Principal Mary Teresa Fulp is in the building. You know, it's always good to see you. Principal Fulp. Ebony R. Davis Stevenson, Sherrod Lamont Laws is in the building. John Williams, Leslie Olafunke Aiken is in the building. My man, Lou Saunders is in the building. Who else we got here? I said Lou Saunders was in the building, and my Google started acting up on me. Man, this must be some code word for the Google. Renee Rochelle Robinson's in the building. Look here, y'all. It's 11 o'clock. I got a big time guest in the building. So let me get it started formally by saying to you, good morning. Greetings. Welcome to week 85. Can you believe that? 85. I mean, I was just going to do this for 18 weeks and be gone. Week 85 of the virtual AP Leadership Academy. And I don't know about you. I think I know. You're here. But if I can just speak for me very briefly, I'm on fire. I got to let you know that. I got to let you know that every week because I chose leadership. Yeah, man, it's a lot going on. I'm going to talk about a little bit of it before I bring my guest up, but it's a lot going on as to why I could justify saying I'm not on fire. In fact, let me just be honest with you. I wasn't even going to tell you this. My plan when I was just kind of just tightening up everything this morning about 15 minutes ago, I said, I'm not going to say I'm on fire today because of those 32 tornadoes in middle America. I said, I'm not going to say it, right? Out of respect to all those families, all those people. But then I said, it contradicts everything I've said for the past 84 weeks. Despite just the challenges of the world, I still got to keep the flame because at the end of the day, I lead. So I respect everything that people throughout the world are dealing with. But at the end of the day, I'm still in the capacity, despite the fact that the world has its challenges. So for that reason, I say to you once again, I'm on fire. Woo! And that's how I'm feeling. That's how I'm feeling. Let me go to middle America. We talking Arkansas, Illinois, Kentucky, Missouri, Mississippi, and Tennessee. Thoughts and prayers. I see my mom out there too, 85. Thoughts and prayers to everybody impacted. Not only the families of the victims of that tornado in terms of fatalities, but just anybody impacted by it one way or the other. Just thoughts and prayers to everyone. Chances are good that somebody that watches this broadcast or watches the videos could be impacted by this. So somebody within our virtual AP Leadership Academy family. So once again, thoughts and prayers to everybody within that pathway. My understanding is that I'm in that pathway as well here on the East Coast. So I don't know what tonight is going to look like, but you know, we just going to be ready for whatever, right? Real quick, y'all, motivational message. I'm calling it a setback is just that, a setback. Once again, a setback is just that, a setback. There's some of us out here that when we have these setbacks, and I'm talking about school setbacks now, when we have these setbacks in school, some of us, maybe it's a small number, maybe it's larger, but some of us think that we've reached the end of the world, so to speak. A setback, you know, to quote a colleague of mine, Willie Jolly, a setback is a set up for a comeback. That's the title of his book, Willie Jolly. A setback is a set up for a comeback, right? So don't look at a setback as being like your final destination. A setback is a learning experience. So you have the setback. Now let me analyze the setback. Let me reflect upon the setback. Let me assess the setback. Let me look at it deeply and figure out why I had it, and then use it as a lesson, use it as a course, use it as a training, use it as a workshop as to what I need to do to get myself back on my feet, and then not to make the same mistake or have the same situation arise within my space again, right? It's not that we can prevent certain circumstances from happening, but we can control how we respond to it. So a setback is just that, a setback. It is not total complete, ad infinitum failure. So just keep that in mind. That's my quick motivational message. Last week, I was so excited about my guest, Dr. Anthony Muhammad, that I failed to read my notes and forgot to mention the Oxford High School shooting. Right, I just never looked at my notes in that regard. Just was really excited that Anthony was with us, and so I just want to mention, thoughts and prayers also to that school family, to that community. 4 lives, 8 people injured, including a teacher. Just once again, thoughts and prayers to that entire community out there in Oxford, and who knows, maybe someone in Oxford tunes in to us on Saturdays as well. So I wanted to make sure that I said that. Shout out to Innovative Schools Summit. Y'all not supposed to be watching me this morning because you are at the summit for day 2 in Atlanta, or day 3, whatever it is. But shout out, we had a great time yesterday. I was the opening keynote speaker in Atlanta, and I just had a great day. It was just a great day. So shout out to them. They're doing big work. Innovative Schools Summit all over the country. Welcome to the first timers. If you're here for the first time, don't let it be your last. Go back and binge watch everything you've missed. Go to YouTube at my virtual AP Leadership Academy YouTube channel. There are 84 videos sitting there waiting for you, including the interview videos. So just go back and watch them. But welcome to you. I'm glad you're here, to all the first timers. Sunday morning commentary. Make sure that you like and follow the Facebook Virtual AP Leadership Academy Facebook page. And that's the second half of, this is a whole weekend. It's Saturday Academy, but Sunday commentary, right? So make sure you like and follow the Virtual AP Leadership Academy page on Facebook so you can get that commentary. And it's usually an outgrowth of what we do on Saturday. So make sure you do that. I'm almost done. I got to always let you know if you don't know. I'm going to let you know. Equity and Social Justice Education 50. Let me get my name on the screen. Yeah. It's red hot. I can't even hold it for too long. And man, this book is averaging like 1,200 copies a month sold. So it's red hot. But if you don't have a copy yet, get yourself a copy. I think it's the most important book I've ever written. Maybe not, but I think it may be. But then the book that accompanies this, I haven't really been in it lately, but I will. But the Assistant Principal 50. But the first sessions, like the first year we did this, everything was coming out of here. So get yourself a copy of this as well. I'm not going to promote all my other books. I just want you to have those 2. And lastly, I'm wearing the Baltimore Elite Giants Negro Leagues. That's all I wear on these broadcasts. Negro League jerseys. That's it. Man, you guys ought to see me in the morning when I put these on. Like, I got a mirror right here in the room. I feel like Superman. I got to tell you, I'm being honest. I feel like Superman when I'm putting these on, man. I got like 55 of them upstairs. I feel like Superman because some of the best, most elite, to use that word, baseball players to ever live came out of the Negro Leagues. But because they were born black, they were not permitted to play in the major leagues, right? So once I realized that all these jerseys were being manufactured by a company called Ebbets Field out in Seattle, I said, well, hey, give me all of them, right? And that's what I wear on these broadcasts. Enough about that, folks. I got a guest today, y'all. I got guests for a long time, man. I'm going solo on Christmas. Oh, someone said Christmas. Yeah, I'm coming on Christmas. Christmas is the last Saturday of the year. I can't not come on. If all of you are under the tree opening the gifts and I'm by myself, that's okay. You can watch the video, but I'm going to be here on Christmas Day. Because Christmas is the last day of the year, and I'm not ending the year and not doing this academy. So I'll be on here Christmas solo, and I will be on here New Year's Day solo. And then from there, January, for the rest of January, all of February, all of March, nothing but guests, man. I got folks coming on here, right? So here we go. Let me bring up my guest. We got the good doctor in the building. We got Dr. Marck Abraham, former principal out of Buffalo, New York, and currently the CEO of MEA Consultants. And he's going to tell you a little bit about that, but I'm going to read his bio. But first, I just want to greet him. Dr. Abraham, good morning to you and good to see you.
Brother Kafele, thanks for having me, man. You got me motivated and fired up, man. I'm ready to have a good time with you. And shout out to all your guests, man, that have been sticking with you this entire time. Every one of those educators that's been with you for 85 weeks, you get a big congratulations from me, because sometimes we think in education folks ain't committed. If you here every Saturday with Principal Kafele and you learning and you getting instruction and you getting direction, I salute you for the things that you do. Proud of you.
There you go. Appreciate you. Appreciate you. Hey, folks, let me tell you a little bit about Dr. Abraham. Dr. Marck Abraham is the founder and CEO of MEA Consulting Services, LLC, the fastest growing consulting company in the country. Once again, the fastest growing consulting company in the country. His company is designed to help poorly performing schools and organizations increase achievement for all students, especially young men of color. As a thought leader for men of color, author, and motivational speaker, Abraham has presented to various education audiences and school districts in New York and across the country. His most recent book, What Success Looks Like, subtitled Increasing High School Graduation Rates Among Males of Color, and I'm gonna put it on the screen right here. If you got two devices, stay with me on this device and then hit the other device. Just go right to Amazon and get it right now. Right? So again, What Success Looks Like, Increasing High School Graduation Rates Among Males of Color. Go to your other device, get it right now. I promise you, you won't regret it. Is providing school leaders practical steps to increase student performance for their most marginalized group in the country. Dr. Abraham has also published several articles in the National Association of Secondary School Principals magazine. So he's bringing credibility, a high degree of it. Abraham's strategies for increasing graduation rates for males of color has been featured in Southern Regional Education Board, SREB, Promising Practices newsletter, the Buffalo News, and on national radio stations. He was also recognized by the mayor of Buffalo, New York, as one of the top principals in the city of Buffalo. McKinley High School, where he was principal, was cited by the New York State Education Department for having one of the highest graduation rates for males of color in New York at 93%. I want to say that again. McKinley High School, where he was principal, was cited by the New York State Education Department for having one of the highest graduation rates for males of color in New York at 93%, but we could also say thereby in the country. Abraham and his company guarantee that with his proven strategies, your school and district no longer has to be a failing one. He works with school leaders across the country. With that being said, once again, I bring to you all Dr. Marck Abraham. Glad to see you, man. Let's jump right into it. I created this topic just based on what I read of your book. It's called "So What's the Big Deal About My School?" And before I go to you on that question, in fact, I'm gonna make my way to you on that question. I want to go right to the audience. Hey, folks out there, I want you to self-reflect on that question. Like, here we go. Here's the mirror. I brought this thing all the way to Atlanta. Some of the folks in the audience, they say, some people say, you use the same mirror you use on Saturday. Yeah, I only got one. I bring it with me, right? I don't have another. I guess I could buy one for $1, but I bring it with me. But here's the question for you guys. I want to start with the word so. So what's the big deal about your school? Your school. What's the big deal about your school? Particularly since you work in it, right? Is there something about the fact that you work in that school, that you lead that school, that you are one of the leaders in that school as an AP, or the aspiring leaders as you envision yourself in that school? What's the big deal about you being there? I just want you to reflect on that. Hey, Dr. Abraham, my question to you, for number one, as an educator, who is Dr. Marck Abraham?
First, let me say this, Brother Kafele, man. Thank you for the work you're doing, man. I mean, I said this behind the scenes, but it's worth saying in front of everyone.
Yes, sir.
To be on here for 85 weeks, to be traveling around the country, man, that is dope. And excuse me to anyone who Dr. Abraham, I got all the degrees. I got 2 master's degree, a bachelor's degree, and a doctorate degree, but I'm still Miami, Florida. So excuse me, I might speak some Ebonics. I'm trilingual. I'm Haitian American, so I speak English. I speak Creole, and I speak Ebonics. So bear with your boy for a little bit, all right?
And
So
the Ebonics, I mean, that's it, because I specialize in it from time to time. So we good. We good.
all right. So who is Dr. Abraham as an educator? I'm someone who believes that every student can have success. I believe that every student deserves success. I believe that with the right strategies and the right mentality, there should no longer be any failing schools. That especially for the kids that are Black and brown and the poor white kids that come from urban settings. So as an educator, I'm someone who is passionate, who loves children, who love the work, who is willing to work hard and to give you, practical strategies to have success. So, man, that's just me, man. Somebody who loves kids and just believes in the best in principals and teachers and the young people that we work with.
Love it, love it. There was a very short paragraph in your preface to your book that I wanted to read verbatim to you and the audience, and then I want to ask you a follow-up question. You said, I had a mission. It was it was far more specific than educating young people. It was specifically to lift high school graduation rates. More specifically, the mission in my heart, in my head and my heart, was to get more Black young men to cross the stage at commencement time. That, I understood, was a matter of life or death. With that, my question to you, and I'm in the intro, and I ask these questions to most of the guests. Why'd you enter the field of education in the first place, and what continues to drive your passion for this work?
No, that's a great question. Again, I live in Buffalo, New York, but I'm originally from Miami, Florida. And I was telling you this, I'm first generation American, first generation college student. And in Miami, I grew up very humble. We're very poor, but I grew up, Principal Kafele. I had two best friends, and their name was Ty and Steve. And these were my boys. I mean, we did everything together. We played ball together. We went to the movies together. We used to holler at girls together. And now these boys, I mean, I'm talking about basketball and football. They were completely phenomenal. I mean, they were doing some stuff that it wasn't even seen yet. We went to elementary school together, middle school together. And when I went to high school, we separated. I went to a high school that immediately when I walked on the campus, the coach and the principal and administrative staff said, you're going to play Division I football. Mind you, I wasn't the best, but I was 6'4", 200 something pounds. And by the time I graduated high school, I had about 17 offers on the table. I chose the University of Buffalo, and the rest is history. Now, my boy Ty and Steve went to a high school that was discipline first. Them discipline first schools. If you act up, we're gonna suspend you. You got your pants down, we're gonna suspend you. You talk wrong, we're gonna suspend you. And what happened to Ty and Steve was that they constantly got suspended and they disengaged from the educational community. As a result, they found themselves in unsavory behaviors, got arrested, went to jail, and by the age of 25, my 2 best friends were killed and gone. So my why, what drives me through everything that I go through, is that I know experientially, ain't nothing that I read. This is what I know through experience, that I had to go to the gravesite to bury my homeboys. That the thing that they had in common is that they didn't have a high school diploma. I had a high school diploma. And what I found out after I got older and started doing research is that when Black and brown males don't get a high school diploma, they end up in modern day slavery, AKA the prison population, or they end up getting killed in the streets. And I'll say I haven't done it all perfect, but that's what drives me. And that's my passion every single day. So when I'm tired, I draw back on that why. When I'm pushing educators, I draw back on that why. Because to be a leader, there's going to be some times, man, where you don't feel good. There's going to be some times where you misunderstood. There's going to be some times where people are going to doubt you. But I always say this: there's vision, there's mission, and there's why. Vision is where you're going. Mission is how you get there. Your why is the fuel you tap into every single day to push you to keep going, even when it's difficult and even when it's tough. That's what drives me, brother.
I love it. And you said you fall back on your why. To the audience out there, whether you be principals, APs, aspiring teachers, superintendents, assistant superintendent, whomever you may be, that message is powerful. That during times of adversity, during time of challenge and difficulty, always being able to fall back on your why. I do it every day, because every day is not rosy. There different days or different challenges, but I always fall back on the reason that I wake up in the morning in the first place as it relates to what I do professionally. Dr. Abraham, when you think about all the various different reasons that you may have become a principal, what is that one that really ate away at you and you said, this is the singular reason that I want to lead? Mine was black males. Mine was black boys. There was just a plethora of different reasons I wanted to lead a school, but I knew I had a school full of black boys. And I said, in this capacity of principal, I can take these young men to a height previously unimagined. That was the reason, with capital letters, that I went on and made that transition. What was yours?
I would say I would echo the similarity, because what I saw was that a lot of people were complaining and we can't do this, or oh these kids, or oh this, oh that. And for me, I said, man, listen, we can do this. And then so I started off in education as a school counselor, and then I had a purview of students that I worked with, and they started to have success. And I said, well, I want to do a little bit more. And then I went to the assistant principal, and then we started having more success. And then I said, well, I want to do a little bit more. I went to the principalship, and I started, and then as you see, in about 3.5 years, 4 years, I took a graduation rate from 60% to 87% and 93% for black males. I want to do a little bit more. And then when I closed that chapter, I became a consultant and said, hey, I need to do a little bit more. So what drove me to principalship is saying there's a problem, and I feel and I know in my heart that with the right strategies, we can have success. And so let me go out and do it, because I'm attempting to save lives. So this is why I tell principals and teachers, don't just say that you're just a teacher. Don't just say I'm just an assistant principal. Don't just say I'm a principal, because unlike my friends, I'm here right now. I'm sitting here right now because I got a high school diploma. Right, I'm sitting right now because someone said that you can do it, and put a system around me to create success. My homeboys are in the grave right now because they didn't have that opportunity. So when you just say and denote and bring yourself down to I'm just a teacher, I'm just an assistant principal, I'm just a principal. No, you are changing lives. Anybody that's listening to me right now, you are a world changer. You're changing the posterity for children right now. You're changing their generation. So for me, my goal is to make more of a difference for the kids, the marginalized kids, the kids that are oftentimes the beat down kids, the ones that people can't say it can't happen, and show the country that it is possible. So that's what my singular reason, man, was to say, they say it can't be done. They say they don't have no answers. So let me show you that it can be done. And let me write articles and write books and go around the country just to let people know that they are important as educators. And this work can happen for our most marginalized group, the group that they say is not possible for.
Y'all hear that? He said, they say it can't be done. There are people out there. It can't be done with your students. There are people who doubt you within your own leadership, or doubt you within your own capacity of teacher. There are people out there that we call them the they. So the they say it can't be done. You can't be on this broadcast this morning. You can't be on any of the previous broadcasts this morning, and you've got that kind of thought process that X, Y, and Z can't be done. if you can conceive it, it can be done, right? And that's the mindset you got to bring. So to the leaders out there, you got your people, you got your young people in the school. They need you to have a mindset that we can achieve the impossible, which is what Dr. Abraham is saying. But he also said that word just. I'm just a teacher. I'm just the AP. I'm just this. I'm just that. No. None of us are just. We more than that. And if you're somebody out there right now and that's your mindset, well, but I'm just the AP.
Right.
You need to find some time for yourself today. Get your mirror and just engage in some self-reflection, because you're more than just an AP. An AP is a significantly important position in the school. With that, hey, Dr. Abraham, you've seen this on the road because you're traveling. I see it on the road. There are people out here who are exhausted, and they don't fake the funk. They will tell you, I am exhausted. Right? This is a different time. They say this is a different child. These are different circumstances. I am exhausted. So my question to you, what do you have to say to somebody out here that's with us this morning that saying, amen, I'm exhausted? What do you have to say to that person to help them to develop a sense of balance within their professional and their personal lives?
Hey, I'm gonna say, man, that's a packed question. So I'm gonna try to scale it a little bit, right? Because Lord, I just gotta say it. So some people, and I've heard this in my career, have said they burnt out. But some people never been on fire. You got to be, before you burnt out, you got to be on fire. You can't start off cold and then never, there got to be some fire you started with. And I've been in the profession for 16 years, but you've been a 16-year X, Y, and Z having a first-year experience. We got to start to scale down where we are when we say we burnt out. So for the folks who are been on fire and you burnt out, I'll say this. Number one, I talk about this in my book, Mental Health is Key. Take care of yourself. You got to work out. I was speaking in Brooklyn, and there's about 250 principals in there. And this brother said, and genuine, he was in there. He said, Dr. Abraham, man, I am trying to move this school around, and I'm working, 15, 16 hours, and I'm getting, shingles, and I'm hurting myself. I stopped my whole presentation. I told this brother, I said, listen, you got to take care of yourself, man, because if you end up dying, your job will be on Indeed before your obituary is written, right? So you got to make sure that you take care of yourself, because your children, your personal children, are dependent on you. So let me just throw that out there to anybody who says I'm not, cognizant. Number one, I say this: you have to tap into your passion for why you do the work. What got you in the education? Let that drive you. And then number two, oftentimes what we think is like the reason why we're burnt out is because we're not using a system for success. See, I always tell people inspiration and motivation without information and proper application gonna lead to frustration. Some of the reason why you frustrated is not because the work is that hard, because it is difficult, and some of these kids are having difficult situations and difficult challenges. But you got to ask yourself as a leader, what's your framework that you're operating from? What's your theoretical framework? What systems do you put in place? How do you monitor your time? There is a will, the passion that I go into it, and then there's a skill. This is why you have to have both. You got to have your will and you got to have your skill. So the skill is, all right, how do I monitor my day? How do I look at data? How do I set goals? How do I hold teachers accountable? There is a skill and a science to the profession, and you have to read books and have to educate yourself so that you can get the skill and not just feel like I'm just running. And you say, hey, what you do today? Man, I suspended some kids. I talked to some kids. I talked to some teachers. I don't really know. I just know I'm tired. You got to have the skill that goes along with the work. So for the folks who are tired, listen, you got to take care of yourself. You got to work out. You got to eat right. You got to take time to laugh. You got to take time to spend it with your family. And then you got to tap into your why to do the work. Because here's the thing. The kids are depending on you, right? They're depending on you to give them what they need for them to be successful. this is their sophomore year, this is their freshman year, this is their junior year. If we're burnt out and we accept this idea and this ideology that said, hey, I'm completely tired and I have nothing to give, and we accept that from the teachers and we accept that from ourselves, what happens to the kid? So does this kid's year go to the wayside? Does this kid not have to get 5 to 6 credits their freshman year? Right, we still have to hold our children accountable because their lives are depending on us as educators to be successful. They are depending on you so that they don't end up in prison, so they don't end up getting killed, so that they can have a situation where they can take care of their family, so they can get an education. So it's duplicitous. What I'm, it's two paradigms that I'm talking from, which is take care of yourself, but you got to also remember the children you serve, that they need us to come in with our best self, competing and giving 100%, because they are depending on us to be able to walk across that stage so they can have a family one day and they could be gainfully employed. That's the commitment we made as educators to our children.
You said come in with your best self. Hey, somebody out there, I'm just going to ask you the question rhetorically. Are you walking into that building as your best self, the best version of yourself? And I know it's tough during this time. I get it. And that's why this thing travels with me. I told you before, I don't have like one for home, one for the presentation. This is the tool. God forbid I lose this thing, right? Because there is so much potency in it. It allows me to go to it and ask myself, am I bringing the best me? But one more thing before we move, Dr. Abraham, you said when you started your answer, you said something. And Dr. Stacey Mabry down in Augusta, she highlighted it. You said with this whole concept of being burnt out, you can't be burnt. And this is one of the things. I stole something from Marcus Jackson the other day. I'm getting ready to steal this from you. So I let y'all know publicly I'm taking your stuff, right? So here, you say, how you gonna be burnt out if you were never on fire? See, right. I never articulated that before. How right. You gonna be burnt out if you were never on fire? See, you got to go to your mirror. Wait a minute. He made a point this morning. Was I on fire in the first place?
Right.
See, if you weren't on fire in the first place, how you burning out? You may have started burnt out, right? Like you came in there burnt out. You know what I'm saying?
You came in cold.
Yeah, you got to first have the flame. So now you got to go to that mirror and you got to ask yourself, well, do I have the flame first? And then we could talk about how we recover from being burnt out, because I've honestly assessed that I at one time had that fire. So, along the same lines, Doc, we talked about
Can I say this, brother? Let me say this. Think about the power in words. Just think about that for a minute. Because what you say impacts what you think. And then what you think impacts your heart. And then what you're thinking, your words, think, heart, that's what you produce. So if you're using the analogy like a match, and you light a match and it's burnt out, is that match any more useful? That match becomes useless. So essentially, are you saying about yourself that you are useless to the community that you serve? That can't be your idea. Yes, you tired, go to sleep. Yes, I'm frustrated. Go spend some time on vacation when you need it. But you ain't burnt out. Because if you burnt out, that means you're no longer useful to the community that you serve. And that cannot be your idea. That cannot be your stance. Because if you're no longer useless, if you're useless, then what about the children we serve? I'm sorry, man. Hey, man, listen, you get me fired up, man. I feel the Holy Ghost helping me now. So, now we're ready to go.
Hey, man, I wish I had a match right now. I don't have one, right? I mean, I know I can ask my wife. I ain't going to ask her to get me one. But I wish I had, just to do an object lesson and to put a burnt match on the camera, right? So we can see what we are calling ourselves, a burnt match, right?
Right.
So yeah, along the same lines though, I talked about exhaustion, you responded to it, but let's move to the word frustrated. There are people in this business, particularly in light of COVID, who are not only exhausted but frustrated with the decision they made to lead. How do I know that? Because they tell me, right? I don't know if I can continue to do this. I think I made the wrong decision. I need to go back into the classroom. Although they had that desire, that passion to do this, and did all the master's training and all that kind of thing, got the certification, and now want to go back into the classroom. What word do you have for someone that may be on this call that is that person? It's so frustrated, I want out.
Yeah, I would say, like you got to ask yourself to like be reflective. Like, so if you're so frustrated, you want out and you want to go in the classroom, are you saying that the classroom is easier? So I'm trying to get to the paradigm of what you're thinking about. Because at the end of the day, you stepped into that role, and pre-COVID or COVID, Google me, man. I had a vote of no confidence my first year. I was on the news so much, I thought that I was running for local government, brother. I was just like, Channel 247 Buffalo News. The union still got articles about me on their website, man. And so you talking about frustrated, I get it. But you got to ask yourself again, it goes back to what brought you into the profession. Why are you here? And if you want to go back to be a teacher, man, because you said you want to make a bigger impact, I get it. But you have to understand, as an administrator, the research says that school leaders have an indirect impact on student achievement. The way we make impact is through teachers who then make impact on students, right? So we're at here, and people get weird, man, when I say things like, "Oh, you're telling me the principal's at top?" Calm down. Get your ego out the way. Principals have an indirect impact on student achievement. Principal, teacher, school counselors, all that realm, you impact them, they impact kids. So when you talk about you're frustrated, oftentimes the reason why you're frustrated is because you don't have a system for success. And my heart goes out to school leaders because I love school leaders. And you need a system for success. You have to have a framework that you operate from. A framework essentially is just the lens that you're using to solve the issue. I'm a football player, and when you see professional athletes, professional anything, we have a system that we use to create success. I would shoot my hands like this. If I shot my hands like this, the coach would say, "You're wrong. You're not going to get any power like this." So you constantly have to do this over and over and over again. So as a principal and assistant principal, you have to have a system. And that's what I talk about in the book. I give you a system for success. I give you a framework, and you have to stay within that framework. And then if you stay within your framework, I promise you will start to be able to see the success that you're having over and over and over again. I would say to you, I love you. If you're out there and you're frustrated, get a system of success. You have to spend this time over this break, this Christmas break. Go get some articles. Go get some research articles. Pick up Brother Kafele's book. Pick up my book. Look at the system that we have that is creating success. Number one, you got to stay with data. You got to understand your data from a robust perspective. See, I'm not just talking motivation and inspiration. I'm talking about application information so that it won't lead to frustration. I'm giving you the science behind this because there is a science behind this. So for the folks who are frustrated, take a breather. We need you in this profession. Go look for a system so that you can have success. Hopefully I answered that, brother, to the best of my ability. Because
you did. System for success. And here's what you didn't say. You didn't say going there hoping and wishing for a better day.
No, you can't do that. You can't do that.
You didn't go in there and say pray hard at night. I mean, prayer is good. But it's got to be some kind of follow-up behind it, right? So you said a whole, and you didn't say like the leader just go into the building and just do your thing. You said a system. So you talking about everybody in the building.
Right.
A system
right.
for success, right? So keep that in mind, folks. Go ahead. It's yours.
I used to have a coach that said, when wishing won't, work will.
Yeah.
When wishing on a genie won't, the work will. but you got to have the right work, and you have to have a systemized work. Like I'll put this out, man, and follow me. I try to give as much free game as possible. I put out something that said, listen, principals, you have to have a schedule for your day. Everyone has a schedule except the assistant principal, and social worker and school counselors. No. What do you do in the morning time? When do you do phone calls? When do you see teachers? What is your schedule? And if you're a new principal, oftentimes you're just running, and you're doing a lot, but you don't know exactly what you're doing. So I am a person who, oftentimes was trying to lose weight in the, you know how that is. You trying to lose weight, get right, get a six pack. Man, my why wasn't big enough, so I never got that six pack yet. But when I went to go see a nutritionist, they said, Dr. Abraham, the first thing I need to know is what you eat every single day. And they gave me a list to say, every day I want you to show me what you eat, how many calories you eat, blah, 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 blah. What are they doing? They're collecting data on my day. So administrators, first thing you need to do as you're tired and frustrated, first thing I want you to do is look at your day. What do you do in the morning time? Write it down. Write down what you did this morning. Write down who you saw. What was the infraction? What did you do? How many teachers you saw? Boom, 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 boom. Then you start on a weekly basis, start to track what does your day look like. And then as you're collecting data on your day, then you can say, here's where I can steal time. Here's where I can steal time so I can do this, so I can do this, I can do that. Also, within that time, make sure that you take time to take a lunch. It's so busy, I don't have time to take a lunch. If you do not take a lunch, you would not be able to sustain yourself for the long haul, people. It does not take 15, 16 hours, 17 hours to run a building. It doesn't. You just need to put the right system in place so that you can have the success. And Lord willing, we can get into some of these systems, but that's one thing I would tell you is at least figure out what your day looks like.
Yeah, that leadership plan. I love it. As a quick aside, some of you that follow me on social media, that last Sunday I posted a picture of my daughter, myself, and her little 9-week-old puppy who's here. And I said, let's see what the future holds with that. Well, so I don't know if you're hearing over my mic, but he in here barking, man. so don't mind it. I keep looking over there smiling because I hear he barking. So we good.
I hear
the new family member in here want to make his presence felt.
You see Principal Kafele, he keep looking like, he trying to get the dog the principal look, but the dog ain't ready to receive that. There's a principal look. Any principal got this look when you get guests in the building and your kids is doing something in the building, you don't want to yell at them, you just.
That's it.
He trying to give the dog that look. The dog ain't receiving it. The dog just like, man, forget that look.
He ain't receiving it. Hey, folks, we talking about, so what's the big deal about your school? We talking about a lot of things. Dr. Abraham, you said in the book, school principals matter, right? And when I read that, I thought about who's in our audience, assistant principals, aspiring principals, and folks. So I tweaked it and I said, in school, leaders matter, so that we get everybody in there. So what I want to ask you, well, first you went on and you said, share the love, but own the data, right? And that resonated with me. You said, share the love, but own the data. So my question to you is, what do you mean by share the love? Coming from the leadership, to share the love and own the data.
So two things. For us to have a successful school, we got to love the kids that we serve. I really want you to think about that. You got to love the kids you serve. You got to love the teachers you serve. Again, listen to the word, because I'm being intentional about what I say. That you serve, not that you boss around and yell at and force to do things. That's not leadership. Leadership is about influencing folks towards a common good. Shout out to Mary. She said she just ordered the book. Appreciate you. Leadership is about influencing people towards a common goal.
By the way, that's from Alaska too. That's going all the way to Alaska.
Come on, Alaska in the house.
Yeah.
So when we talk about love, we have to create a culture within the building that folks say that they know that you care about them. that you appreciate them, that you get on the loudspeaker and say, I'm so proud to see you here. When that young person walks into the building and you say, man, how you doing? How your mama doing? How your auntie doing? How your cousins doing? I see you got them J's on, man. You're looking clean. I'm so proud you're here. Even if you're late, I'm still saying I love that you're here. Even to your teachers, you say, I care that you're here. How's your family doing? It's about creating a culture from the top down to say that we value everyone in the building. Oftentimes I hear people say, well, Dr. Abraham, give me an attendance program. There ain't no attendance program. It's create a culture of love. It's saying, Principal Kafele, man, boy, I'm happy you're here. I'm happy that your heart's right. I'm happy that you're doing the work you're doing. What does that do? That esteems me, makes me feel like this is a place that I want to be in. Gangs do not have an attendance program. There is no attendance program for the Crips and Bloods, right? What they make them young people feel like at the beginning, I got your back. I'm with you. I'm your homie. You're going to do some nefarious things. That ain't good. But they are making young people feel like they are part of something that's bigger than them. So in the school, that is our responsibility. And that starts with the leadership. When I say look at the data, your data going to tell you a lot. Your data, one data set you want to see is how often do my teachers come into the building? Do you know that? Do you know how many teachers, the percentage of teachers that don't come? And partially it could be COVID, but other part, it could be you have a culture that does not make people feel like they're important. Man, I've worked for some failing schools, Brother Kafele. I worked for some schools, man, that I took every sick day, every vacation day, and I was taking smoke breaks in the middle of the day, and I didn't even smoke. I was just out there doing this, contemplating why I'm even here, because the culture didn't make me feel like I was welcome and valued. So that love piece is about letting everyone feel like I care about them. Second piece is you got to know your data. If I ask you right now as assistant principal, superintendent, so on and so on, what's your data? Most people at the secondary level and the middle school level, they could tell me their graduation rate data. But it's more than that. You got to be able to know your graduation rate data, your student attendance data, your teacher attendance data, your formative assessment data, your summative assessment data, your state assessments. I like to house it in the ABCs. Your attendance, behavior, course passing data. You want to write that down. Your attendance, everything that's under the attendance, everything that houses in behavior, meaning discipline issues, and everything that has in course passing data. As a school leader, you have to be on the balcony and not the dance floor. You got to be able to see what's happening in your building real time so that you can start making adjustments right now. So the love and the data piece is love the kids, make them feel valued, love the teachers. I had this situation and I will move on, but this kid, man, walked into my building, Principal Kafele. He walked into my building and he was cussing everybody out. He walked in, man, and that wasn't even his MO, but he was cussing everybody out. And they called me with a loudspeaker and said, Dr. Abraham, so-and-so is completely wilding. He need to be suspended. I'm bringing him down to your office. Immediately, he walked into my office. You know what I did? I gave him a hug. He broke down and started crying. He said, I know you're going to suspend me, Doc. I know you're going to suspend me. What everyone didn't understand is that kid was just sleeping outside in the cold that day because he intervened in an argument that his mama was having with her boyfriend, and the mama chose the boyfriend over him and put him out the house. So that love piece means before I try to just be punitive to you, I got to embrace you and let you know I got you. And let me take the time to figure out what's happening with you. Because when you walk into the school, you say, what's the big deal about your school? When you walk into the school, you got to say, you belong to me when you walk into the school. I'm the daddy, I'm the mama, I'm the auntie, I'm the whatever it is you want to say. I love you like you my own, and I'm going to take care of you like you my own. So if that means I got to get you some food, if I got to have some jackets available, if I have to have some gloves, I got everything that I'm going to work my way and put systems in place because I love you. You belong to us when you walk into this building. And even when you walk out the building and I see you in the community, I'm going to pull over and say, what's good with you? Why are you on the block? What you doing? Take your butt to school. Because that shows you that I care about you as a person.
Caring matters. It matters. Hey, Doc, talk to us about, I want you to elaborate. Talk to us about that balcony dance floor analogy.
So as a school leader, what is important is that most times as a school leader, they are doing a lot of stuff, you know. So when I'm coaching principals and coaching assistant principal teams, the way you get off the dance floor, right? The way you just, you feel things are happening and you're just like, this is going on and that is going on. The way you get off of that dance floor, and most principals do that. Most principals, assistant principals do that. They fall into the, I have to just jump in and do the work. That's important, but you have to be intentional about the work. You got to be reflective. You got to see what's going on at a high level, at a macro level, and not just at the micro level. So the best way to do that is to have a good handle on your data. And when I start talking about data, people start doing this. Oh, dear God, here we go. Right? There's a reason why we don't look at data, and you got to ask yourself. Most people don't want to see what's going on, or they don't know how to pull their data, or they don't know what to do when they have their data, or they don't know what data to pull. As you're looking at your data and you're looking at the ELA department, I ran a comprehensive school. As you're looking at your ELA department, you have to be able to say, what is the course passing data for the 15 teachers in that department? Well, Ms. Jones got a 90% course passing data. Mr. Jones got a 33% course passing data. A 33% course passing data or 30% course passing data. What that tells you as an administrator, without even going into their classroom, 70% of their kids are failing. If 70% of their kids are failing in a freshman class, what does that mean for your graduation? Either you're going to have about 70% of the kids going to summer school, and if you don't address that, 70% of your kids are not positioned to graduate high school. What does that mean in the long term? You will only be positioned for a 30% graduation rate if you don't intervene immediately. But that should not happen at the end of the school year, and you're just like, what happened? You have to see that right now. Because sometimes you say, well, this teacher ain't doing this and this teacher ain't doing that, but you don't know it by data. You only know it here. This is why you want to work within a system, because you don't just operate from your gut. That's wisdom. You got to also operate from a framework that says, here is how we create and monitor our success here at our school. Hopefully it's making sense to you folks.
Oh yeah. No, I love it. So, you threw a random percentage out there, 30%. So here you are, you took McKinley High School from 60% to 87%, which was inclusive of 93% graduation rate for Black males. So clearly you are, in fact, a turnaround principal. So what I want to ask you, what do you attribute to such a high graduation rate, particularly for the young men? Now, I know that's a whole lecture, but in terms of those points that someone in the audience can take and run with, how did that happen?
Number one, you got to love kids. You got to believe in the best in them. Like that has to be the heart that you operate from. Number two, you have to know your data, and I think I beat that to the point. Mm-hmm. There's a point. I think point 4 is you have to hold people accountable. In a culturally proficient leadership theoretical framework that's called manage the dynamics of difference. Essentially is you got to have courageous conversations with people. If you see that your teachers are not at the door, if you see that they're having low test scores, if you see that their course passing data is low, if you see that they're not coming to work on time, if you see that they're missing a significant amount of days, you listen to what I'm saying. All of these are data sets. And as you see those things are happening, not because you just looking around and you feel it, but because you're looking at it from a macro level, then those are the things that you have to address and start to hold people accountable for the work. So building relationships with teachers is huge. Building relationships with kids is huge. But relationship building without accountability means we're friends. We didn't come here just to be friends. I don't need another social media friend. Right. We come here to do a job. The next thing I would say is you got to change the narrative. I would tell my kids, we were at a 60% graduation rate, and there was a narrative in the school. There's a quantitative data and qualitative data. There was a narrative of the school that we were a middle of the road school. You see this championship ring on my finger? I don't like to lose. I don't like to celebrate mediocrity. I don't like to celebrate C pluses. If we ain't getting A pluses, what we doing? So I had to tell my kids, we're the best school in the land, often imitated, never duplicated. There was only one MAC high. So what you have to do is change the internal narrative from the way the teachers think about the kids and the way the kids think about themselves. And how you do that is you speak life into them. So the narrative changing is you have to start telling the folks what you want to see and where you're going. That's the vision of the school. Now, how we get there is the mission. Again, your why is the fuel that drives you to be able to do that work.
I love it. And you know what by what you just said, the ending, it took me to, I have a question list later on. And folks, by the way, it's 11:55 Eastern time. You know, I always vow not to go over 12:30, right? Eastern time. So we good on time. So just hang in there with us, right? So I want to leave my sequence. When you became, and I'm not going to get into specifics of this, you'll understand what I mean by that in a hot second. When you became acting principal, there was a need to change the image, and you have it in the book. I'm not going to get into it here, but there was a need to change the image of the school and change the narrative of the school as well in your acting principal capacity. So what you did in part was an onslaught of the usage of social media to change the narrative, to sell who we really are and what we're going to become under your leadership. So talk to us about the power of social media in that regard toward telling your own story when social media is used correctly.
First of all, shout out to Brother Kafele for reading the book for real, for real. Yo,
I do my homework, man. I don't come on here faking the funk. No.
Hey, shout out to Brother Kafele for traveling in Atlanta, doing all that work, and still reading this technical book. Because, here's the thing when I talk to people who say, man, I read the book in 3 days. Man, get out my face. Like, for real, this is a Bible. This took me 15 years to write, brother. Like, the next one is going to roll, but this is my whole life story. This is everything, all of everything in me to try to give you. And I tell anybody, read it from start to finish. Don't jump around because you need to put the systems in place. Here's the thing. I was in the news a lot. There was a union thing that was going on, and I talk about in the book where, oh boy, I'm gonna say this so I don't get sued, but I was battling my union behind closed doors, principals union, and I was battling the teachers union. Oh boy. So there's a part that someone could make the argument that both unions were working together to try to attack me all at once. Somebody can make that argument. So now we have the two largest unions in the second largest urban district in the state of New York one was openly going on the news to say we want this principal removed immediately. There is no cap in what I'm saying. Anyone who don't understand Ebonics, that means I'm not lying. You can Google this. And so now this individual was going online and going on the news saying we want this principal removed immediately. And what transpired, and this is why I tell folks, I say this now. I say, if you don't got a vote of no confidence, you ain't really changing no school around. If you ain't never been no union fights, is you really changing the school around. If your school is failing and everyone loves you as a leader, you are complicit in that failure.
Say it again.
If your school is failing and everyone walking around the school is smiling and they just patting you on the back, you are complicit with that failure. You guys are in it together. That's not our job. You got to hold people accountable, and that's going to ruffle some feathers. So if you need to be liked and you need to be pat on your back and you need people to give you a hug and tell you how good you is, you might not be fit for the role of a principal and assistant principal in a turnaround model. So what happened was I figured out, I said, brother, listen to this. Channel 2, Channel 4, Channel 7, Buffalo News, they cannot spend their entire duration talking about me every single day. Because They cannot keep bashing my school every single day. They don't have they can, but then what's going to happen is they got to report on some other stuff. So what I did was, and then remember this, when people are bashing the school and talk about the school, remember the kids are being impacted. Think about that. The kids see the same news that you see. They hear the same reports that you see. So what I was trying to do is, because the babies, and I'll say this, I feel like I'm jumping around, but the young people was talking to me. They were just like, Dr. Abraham, why they keep talking about us this like us? Why they keep talking about us like that in the news? They keep saying that we're bad. Now imagine how infuriating that made me feel as a leader, that these people are playing politics with children. You playing politics with kids who already have a negative self-talk because of the color of their skin, because of their social economic status, because their daddy wasn't there, because their mama ain't there. They already feel bad about themselves, and you're gonna get your ugly self on the news and talk bad about my kids, man. So what happened was, I said I had to change that narrative. So I got on social media and we grew our platform from 0 people to like 2,000 people. And I started posting videos and getting kids involved. And I started telling kids, you are the best school in the land. The kids started to get fired up, and they had their own hashtag, best school in the land. And so we got on the news and got on the media. And every time I got on any news station, they hit me up and was like, Dr. Abraham, you just had a fight outside your school. What you got to say about that? I just want to start off by saying we the best school in the land, often imitated, never duplicated. Man, they were looking at me like I was crazy on Channel 7. I didn't care, man. I was fired up for my kids. So I would go to social media, and then I would just keep pushing the message and keep pushing the message and keep that is courage. Keep doing it and seeing the highlight of our kids, even when we don't see it right now. And what happened is the kids got fired up. They got excited. They started posting it. And brother, we were putting videos out, we're getting 15,000 views, 20,000 views, because the kids started to say, this is our school. This means something to us. And so for principals, you have to tell your own story. Don't wait for the news to tell your story. If you believe you're going to be a blue ribbon school, if you're going to believe you're going to be a successful school, I don't mean to take you to the Bible, but the Bible says, now faith is the substance of things hoped for, evidence things not yet seen. What does that mean? Faith happens right now. You are it now. You are a successful school now. I don't care what your graduation rate is. I don't care what the test scores is. You are it right now. Don't wait till tomorrow. You see this shirt? I am what success looks like in this moment as I speak it. So that was the thing.
I love it. I got a question for you. Did you keep your newsreels?
Yeah.
Yeah. See, I when you were speaking, let me see. It says on the number 2, principal under fire. I kept my newsreels, man. I put them on DVD. Because I was on there too. So I said, let me put these on DVD because I'm gonna use them one day. Principal under fire. That's what the headline was on the channel, on the UPN 9 News up here in Jersey. Principal under fire. But now, so I was under fire, but right now I'm on fire.
On fire. There you go.
Fire.
There you go. And you'd never be a diamond unless you deal with some fire.
That's it. I know my mother's sitting back laughing right now. She on here.
Hey, mama.
That was a stressful time in her life. Yep. When she was watching me on the news.
people don't understand it. And principals, I'm not telling you don't want that. I'm not advocating for you to be on news, but it is stressful when you got to be on channel 2, channel 4. Your kids is watching it, the community talking to you. You know, like, oh baby, it's gonna be all right. But what happened was, because the news is so aggressive, talking negative, the union was talking negative, right? And then I had my own narrative. Now the parents got involved. And the parents were saying, no, we like what this brother's doing. No, he care about our kids. And then the parents started advocating. Kids were volunteered to go to the news and said, no, stop talking crazy about our principal. This is our school. So now you got the community saying, we love what's going on. And the superintendent, thank God, shout out to my superintendent, former superintendent. He had Dr. Crown Cash. He had my back, brother. I ain't gonna lie. It's hard to transform a school superintendent if you don't have no backbone. you got, if your backbone jelly back, your principle can't move, because anytime you're doing a transformation, it's going to cause pain. It's going to cause agitation. It's going to cause frustration. So you got to have your principles back and your system principles back to say, I got you. So when the news comes, the superintendent said, we appreciate what Dr. Abraham is doing. He's doing great work. And so that allowed me to take the chains off and keep pushing. And then at the end of the results, 60% to 87%, 94%, New York State said, we got to see what this brother's doing. And they did a whole 2-day study on my school and said, I ain't never seen this before. Every kid know what the data is. Every teacher know what your goals are. Every kid know what it means to be the best school in the land. And I would have an affirmation. I don't know if I still remember, but I would get up every morning and have the kids repeat after me. Say, we're the best school in the land. I'm the best because I believe I'm the best. I work hard every day to compete to be my best. I work hard in school. I work hard in class. I give 100% in everything I do. I always win. I'm a McKinley Mack. I would have my baby say that in the morning time and in the afternoon time, and they would believe that. We had a kid. They had a drill competition, Principal Kafele, and our kids ain't never drilled. And them babies out there drilling, and they practicing for this drill-a-rama in Buffalo. And I was nervous. I was like, man, they about to get smoked out here. We ain't never had no drill team. Before my drill team, my girls left, I asked the young lady, I said, are y'all going to win? Without missing a beat, she turned around and said, we always win. Where she get that from? She got that from the affirmation. See, education is not just about ELA, math, history, and science. Education is an indoctrination to say, this is how I want you to believe. I'm fighting against your negative self-talk that says you ain't nothing because I believe you are something. So that's what we're trying to do for our young people to say, I tell you, don't tell me this kid can believe in Superman, Batman, and all these fictional characters, but they can't believe they the best. It's because you don't believe they the best. And as a leader, your job is to tell everybody what these kids should be thinking about them. And they think and they should know that they are the best. This is why when I wrote this book, What Success Looks Like, these are my former graduates. These are my former graduates. I didn't put them in no cap and gown. I didn't put them in no suit and tie. They are what success looks like right now.
Woo! You said negative self-talk. Did y'all hear that out there? Sometimes you talking that into your own mind and spirit. Negative self-talk. Sometimes at some point later in the future, we got to come back and we got to do, I already got the topic in my head. How to lead when the doo-doo hits the fan. Right? How to lead when the doo-doo hits the fan. We probably need to come back and just spend 2 hours on that, because somebody on this thread probably say, yo, do that one right now because it's hit my
It's already on the fan. Do it right now.
Them blades is blowing it all over the room, man.
Oh, man. Oh, boy. Hey, listen, if you ain't never had to have that battle before, boy, don't try to tell somebody how to do it if you ain't never done it, boy. Never done it, can't tell somebody how to do it, boy, because it takes everything on the inside of you, and you got to trust your process. I had teachers coming in every single day looking at me like, you done yet? And I look at them and say, oh, no, we don't get done. We don't get tired. And so what happens is when Principal Kafele say this, when he says this, I'm on fire. It don't matter how he feel. It don't matter what it looks like. He's on fire because he say he on fire. Your words matter. So every day in a fight broke out, I had a parent. I worked in an urban school. I had a parent press some kids in my school, and my kids beat the parent down. I had to get the parent arrested. It was crazy. And at the end of the day, this happened at 2:30. I had to be on announcements at 2:45. It took everything in me to say, what the heck wrong with y'all? But I did. I said, we the best school in the land. Repeat after me, because that takes courage. Your words matter. You have to believe it on the inside of you. It's an attitude gap. It's an expectation gap. It's I am what success looks like gap. So you got to have that in your mind.
I love it. I love it. Hey, y'all, it's 12:09. We ain't finished yet, so just hang on in there. Hey, Doc, let's go
My
to
bad, my bad, brother. We keep going.
No, you good. You good. Well, let's go to some of your research. You know, your research became your dissertation, and it's spelled out in the first chapter of the book. And you asked the question, and I want to just read it to you. What, if any, leadership strategies are secondary school principals using in successful schools to increase student achievement, particularly among Black males? And three overarching themes emerge. I just want to go through these themes, and that'll take us right to the end. The first theme was keep everybody on track, which included a sub theme: you've got to own it. My question to you is then, what does that look like? How's that done in terms of keeping folks on track?
Hey, Principal, y'all not gonna like this one though. Yeah, I'm telling you, ain't gonna like this. I'm telling you right now, because I've had an argument with y'all all the time on social media. Keep everyone on track. In successful schools, we don't blame anybody for the failure of our kids. Let me say that, man. We not blaming teachers. We ain't blaming parents. We ain't blaming community. We ain't blaming rap music. We ain't blaming poverty. When you talk about we own it, that means I'm not looking to say we failing because something else is not happening. I played football at the University of Buffalo. When I got there, Principal Kafele, we were the Buffalo Bulls, but the country used to call us the Baby Bulls. We sucked. We were the worst team in the country. We ended up winning a championship 5 years later. But we were a sorry team. And what sorry schools do and what sorry teams do, they blame everyone for their failure. Man, we were blaming the water boy, man. If the water boy got here faster with the water, we'll be a little bit more successful. The coaches ain't no good. The fans ain't no good. It's too cold here in Buffalo. We had to have a paradigm shift, right? The reason why we were failing is because the person, Kafele, got the mirror? The person in the mirror. That's why we were a failing school. School leader, if you have a school and it's failing for the last 4 years, you are the problem. It's not the parents. It's not the community. It's not rap music. It's not COVID. It's not all these things you want to blame. You are the problem because you are the leader of that building. Look in the mirror. So when we talk about what that looks like, owning it, it means I look in the mirror and say, my school gonna be successful because I lead it. My school gonna be successful as a teacher, a classroom teacher, because I'm the teacher. I'm gonna give y'all everything I got, and I demand you be successful. You will be successful in my school. So, principals of successful schools, they own it. They don't look to anybody else to blame everybody else for the failure. They're not looking to blame the superintendent. They're not looking to blame the middle school because they sent to these 1 and 2 schools. Educators, if a kid walk into your building at a 1, your job is to bring them to a level 2 or level 3 or level 4. Essentially, your job is to make those kids better because you are in front of them. That is our job as educators. That is our job as an educational leader, to make people know that they're going to be better. So that's the key. You got to own your success in the school. Ain't no blaming nobody else. It ain't the parents' fault. Because them kids are with you from 7 o'clock in the morning to about 4 p.m. Well, we ain't got the phone numbers for the kids. You the parent. When them kids walk into school, you are the parent. You talk to them kids. People say, well, you ain't worried. I know my children ain't gonna act up because they know daddy is here. Now they might play around and be running around the hallway from time to time, but when daddy walk around this hallway, they gonna get right because they know that I love them and I'm gonna hold them to a high expectation. See, love is not patting you on the back and telling you that you can't make it because you Black. Love is I raise the bar. If you lower the bar for me, you don't love me, you hate me. Let's say that again. If you lower the expectation for me, you hate me, you do not love me. Because love says, I don't care what's going on, you gonna make it. When your mama said, boy, you better not act up, you better not do this, because she loved you. She said, I see the best in you. So, hey, Mama Kafele. So that's the thing, is love raises the bar. It don't lower it.
I love it. That whole theme of love, that whole theme and idea of owning it. Let's go to the second one. There were 3 themes here. Um, these, and I'm gonna read it. These principals created a caring culture for their students, which were comprised of the following principles and called "We Care." So let's quickly, if we have time for all four. If not, I'll select them. But the first one said, "Making school fun again." And I'm asking you, how can a leader, and I think the APs out there, particularly those who have limited exposure to leadership, you really need to hear this. How can a leader go about making school fun again?
Let me say this. School does not have to be someplace like it's like we think it's like opposite. Like we got to work hard, and then there's times when we switch gears to have fun, as if they can't happen at the same time. I have never been to Ron Clark Academy, but when I look at them on Instagram and the teacher standing on the doggone desk and they getting kids involved and getting kids engaged, listen, we are being, especially I said this on the news and when we went to social media, when we went to hybrid or COVID, whatever the case may be, I said you are now being in a competition to social media, to Xbox, to PlayStation. Why? Because a kid can actually go do those things at home instead of listening to you teach. It's the same thing. Kids are making a choice. Either I'm going to school, I'm not going to school, right? Because the school is boring. It's dry like a desert. Y'all hate being here. Everybody's face look like they sucking on lemons. Why do I want to be here? So as a school principal, you got to put things in like, did you have a pep rally this year? Do you have a homecoming dance? Did you have spirit week? Do you tell the kids like, hey man, I'm gonna have a competition to see who gets to school on time, because after we have this competition, we're gonna have a pizza party at the end. I want to see how many tickets you have. Like, you have to think about, and then here's another thing: get student voice, get their voices. They are stakeholders. Get your teachers' voices. They are stakeholders. And then share the sugar, meaning share that leadership. Allow other people to have ownership in your building. Say, hey, how can we keep education high and fun high at the same time? Is it impossible? No, it's not impossible. But it has to be something we think about. So, have a ticket program where you give kids tickets to get to class on time. Man, kids love that little thin slice of pizza. That slice, you just took that one slice and cut it 15 times. They love that stuff. They love pep rallies, because what that also teaches them is when they get together, they can also have a good time and not have violence and not act, because you show them how to do that. One thing I'll say, I had this happen, Brother Kafele. Every year I did a school picnic where in the middle of the school, in the middle of the school day, I would shut the school down. I brought in colleges as vendors. I brought in all of the clubs, like the JRTC club, basketball club, everybody. I brought all my kids to the backyard. I had a barbecue, a DJ for them, and this was my welcome back party. And the teacher said, oh my God, this is going to be chaotic. This is going to be crazy. Why is it going to be crazy? These kids know how to have a good time. And then you had the educational club where the colleges were recruiting them and saying, hey, come to my college. We had a great experience. But you have to create that environment. And then last thing I'll say is, look at career technical education programs. Do you have any CTE programs? I talk about this with helping kids understand their why. Do you have anything that says, what is the catch to bring them in? What am I teaching you? Because if a kid asks you, and I had a teacher like this, brother, I had to counsel her way out of my school. I said, the kid asked her and said, why do we need to learn Algebra 2? She said, I don't know, just to pass the test. You got to get out of here, because if you can't show the correlation to this young person why you need to be learning what you're teaching, and you can't sell it, why am I learning this? I don't want to just know algebra for the sake of knowing algebra. How is what you're teaching me going to make me a better man, because I got real issues in life? I grew up with real issues. I grew up saying, if I don't make it to education, if I don't get a scholarship, there is no out for Dr. Abraham. It was either education or the streets. So if you're competing with that, what is your grab to bring them in there? It can't just do it because I say do it. Tell me why this is important. Tell me why I got to learn this. Catch me. Hook me in.
I love it. I love it. You know, your third theme was student voice, and you kind of touched on student voice. There's a second one there, diversity is celebrated, but I want you to hit the last one. Staff are valued. And my question is, how can school leaders demonstrate appreciation for staff?
So one thing I would do is we would have staff breakfasts where we just have the staff come in and have breakfast with them. And sometimes people say we don't have any money in the budget. Well, it's simple things like teacher shout out. Every Thursday I will have a teacher shout out where kids will look at what teachers are doing and teachers were looking at what teachers are doing, and I would give them a shout out to say, hey, we seen Teacher Jones helping this kid or doing this or doing that. We made sure that we were intentional about praising our teachers and praising what we want to see. And then I would have a teacher of the month program. You know, again, these things are free. You know, a teacher of the month program where a teacher would actually get their own parking space. Administration didn't vote for teacher of the month. It was put together by teachers and students. Everyone had a vote. Administration didn't vote. And then when that teacher, we wouldn't tell them who was teacher of the month. And this is all documented. I would get my cheerleaders and football players, and we'll walk in the hallway with the cameras for social media and everything, and we'll go in there, interrupt the class, bust the class down, have the kids do a cheer for the teacher, put it all, blast it all on social media, and 2,000 people looking at it like, that's my teacher. I remember that teacher. They did this. Celebrating them to let them know that we appreciate them. Another thing is little things. I would do a certificate award for teachers who came to work 95% of the time in the month, right? Just a little certificate to show them we appreciate you. We are watching you. We thank you for the work you're doing. And then just thank them all the time. You know, it don't take nothing to walk around the hallway and say, Mr. Kafele, man, I see what you're doing, man. Thank you for your service. Thank you for being here. But it has to be intentional.
Got to be intentional. Just and as I always say, praising a teacher, just letting the teacher know I see you goes way further than a luncheon during Teacher Appreciation Week. Teacher just wants to know that I'm appreciated, that I'm valued, that I'm respected by my supervisor, and that matters. And so these were the four principles under the second theme, and then the third theme was clear discipline, sub-themed hug it out. And I just want you to tell us, when you say hug it out, what do you mean by that?
Two things I would say this. Teacher appreciation is all year. That should not be like, oh, now we're going to appreciate teachers. It should happen. It should be within the fiber of the school that this is happening every single day of the week. When I talk about hug it out and we talk about discipline being clear, it goes back to that piece where I said that kid was cussing everybody out and you give him a hug. It's talking about taking the time to actually listen to what the child has going on before you go to this, you know, punitive, everyone gets suspended type of mentality, right? Like this, we're hard on discipline mentality, because what the research clearly shows us is that when you suspend a kid, they become disengaged from the learning community. When they become disengaged, behaviors from that child gets worse, not better. When we talk about restorative practices, it's like people get a little weird, right? They want to pull out the restorative practice tool and say, today we're going to be restorative. No, restorative is you have to have a restorative culture where we want to make sure that you know that it's not about beating you down and condemning you and saying that you're no longer important. It's about saying to your young people, hey, what you did was not appropriate for our culture. Let me show you how to have better skills and how do we work with you so that you can be more successful. In the same breath, though, restorative practice or having a hug it out mentality needs to also be for teachers. I need to create a culture where teachers know that I'm not out to get them. I'm out to make them feel valued, appreciated, because what happens, like I said earlier, we have an indirect impact on student achievement. So you impact teachers, and then the teachers start to model that behavior for the kids. So when they see it, it doesn't look like, oh, we don't care about discipline. And I said this on the news. I said discipline is about training a behavior. It's not about suspension. We're disciplined educators. We are disciplined educators. That means we learn a skill and how to do that. So it's our job to teach young people to have a discipline of success. Because yeah, you can suspend a kid for cussing somebody out, but did you teach them the skill to use another tool when they get upset instead of using profanity? Mm-hmm. Does that make sense? So I want to make sure that I'm providing you with school tool. I'm providing you with tools so that you can be successful, and I'm not just trying to throw you off and get rid of you.
I love it. Hug it out. Hug it out. You know, folks, it's 12:25 Eastern time. I was overly ambitious in writing my questions because I still got a slew more, but I'm gonna be respectful of time because I want to get to my BAM questions. That's my rapid fire BAM impact questions. So, Dr. Abraham, these are one-word questions, one-word answers, I should say, or max one sentence if it's just a need to go beyond the word. I got 21, rapid fire. Let's hit it. All set?
Let's go.
Is education on the right path for underserved children?
No, I say no, not right now. Not right now.
Can true equity occur in America's schools for Black, brown, and other underserved students?
Yes.
Does your work contribute to the progress we desperately need?
100%.
If you could do a reset on your life, would your line of work be different or the same?
No, the same.
Why do you continue to do this work?
For the love of kids and educators.
What keeps you fired up about this work?
My why.
What do you love about the work you do?
Loving seeing leaders get that aha moment.
Do you dislike what do you dislike about the work you do?
Chronic complaining about what can't be done.
What has been your greatest victory in this work?
Seeing 94% of Black males graduate and walk across that stage.
What was your greatest mistake?
Feeling like I had to do everything by myself and not getting stakeholder buy-in.
What has been your greatest challenge?
Getting the word out that this is possible. So I thank you for allowing me to have this platform with you.
Are you proud of your first year as an assistant principal?
Yes.
Are you proud of your first year as a principal?
Yes, 100%.
Who inspires you in this work?
Man, the children and I would say one of my biggest inspirations, I told you before we start, was you inspired me, Brother Kafele. You came to Buffalo, New York, and you had this swag about you. And before I even got an education, I said, I want to be like that, brother. So thank you.
I appreciate you. What are you reading right now?
I'm reading the Leadership Challenge, and I'm constantly reading different leadership articles to move my thinking.
What book do you recommend for our listeners? Besides
What Success Looks Like, Increasing Graduation. There's and I'll tweet it. There's a book. The Leadership, because it helps principals have the paradigm for theoretical framework. It talks about transformational leadership. It talks about different leadership models, because you got to know your framework. So when I'm coaching people, I'm coaching them through a framework and not just through the gut.
Good stuff. What do you want to accomplish that you haven't accomplished yet?
Oh man, there's a lot I haven't accomplished. My biggest vision and my biggest goal is to have our Black and brown males mirror or supersede or be on the same playing field with their white counterparts, where 59% of our Black males are graduated from high school and 81% are graduating white males. I want to bring that up as a country, and it's possible.
Are you satisfied with where you are professionally right now?
No, sir.
What could you say to a viewer out there who continues to face closed doors?
Every no gets you closer to a yes.
What could you say to a viewer out there who's lost their fire?
Holla at me. I got you. You think about why you got an education in the first place, and take that time to be reflective over this Christmas break, holiday break.
And the last one, if Dr. Marck Abraham was a word in a dictionary, what would be your definition?
One word?
Give me a sentence.
A passionate educator that does not take no as an answer.
Love it. Hey, folks out there, we've given you an hour and a half of the good Dr. Marck Abraham. It was on fire. In fact, let me get my bat because he hit it out the park. And I know you agree. If you do, give me some thumbs ups, give me some fire, give me some kind of emoji to let them know that you applaud what you got today from Dr. Marck Abraham. He hit it out the park. Grand slam. Dr. Abraham, let them know how they can reach you, how they can book you, how they can get the books, everything.
Yeah. So first of all, thank you folks for taking this time and spending it with me. My book, What Success Looks Like, we were all in it. Everything that I talked about came from this book. You can get it on Amazon, Barnes and Nobles. You get anywhere, just pick it up. Second, I would say that you can catch me on Instagram, Marck_Abraham, or you get me at Twitter, Dr. If you need to book me or you need me to come to your school, email me, meaconsultantsllc@gmail.com, meaconsultantsllc@gmail.com. I go around coaching and speaking to different schools. Lastly, I say I have an offering that we're doing in February for school leaders and for kids. I had about 7,500 kids in my last one, where we're talking about the success models for students, and then for leadership going into February, how are we looking at celebrating diversity as we're going into Black History Month. Call me, email me, text me. I'm always available. I coach leaders all over the country, and speaking at several engagements. I would love to come to your school, come to your district, and I guarantee you, it'll change your life. You are the best. You are what success looks like. Remember that. Say that to yourself every single day.
There it is, folks. You are what success looks like. Another exciting session of the virtual AP Leadership Academy. Hey, Doc, let me close it out right quick. I'm going to put you backstage, but don't leave me. All right, folks, we just completed. Hang on with me before you leave. Next week, I'm back at 10:55 Eastern Time. My guest will be my man, Dwight Carter. He's on here right now, or he was. Dwight Carter's the another one of them big time principals who also co-author of Leading Schools in Disruptive Times. So once again, Leading Schools in Disruptive Times. Be here with us next Saturday at 10:55. Sean Hurt every Saturday morning. I'm not clear on his time. I don't know if he's 9:30 now or 10. So check him out on Facebook. Create and Educate with Dr. Sheikah Houston and Tammy Taylor at 10:30 on Facebook. Unlock the Middle with my man Josh Tovar and the crew. It's on Sunday nights at 7. And then the Village Leadership Group with Dr. Roz Gaskins and Coach Williams on Tuesday and Thursday at 6:00 p.m. All of those Facebook Live. That's my crew. So, we look out for each other. Again, I've written 12, but these are the newest. The Equity and Social Justice Education 50 and the Assistant Principal 50. If you don't have them yet, get your hands on them. Amazon, Barnes & Noble, principalkafele.com, wherever education books are sold, get yourself a copy. Visit principalkafele.com for all my resources, books, blogs, articles, podcasts, videos, you name it. Everything is there. Make sure that you like and follow the Facebook page, Virtual AP Leadership Academy, so that you can get the commentary. I write that early in the morning on Sundays. have it on before 10 o'clock, and then I get started with my day. But the first order of business every Sunday is to write the commentary. So make sure you check that out. And then lastly, your diet, your exercise. Make sure you're taking care of business. Eat right, Eat right, and make sure you get the exercise in, because if this is not together, then you're of no use to that school anyway, right? So make sure you're taking care of business. With that said, have a great week. Have an extraordinary week. Have your best week yet. Peace. Peace. Thumbs up. Cock that fist back. 1, 2, 3. Bam! Glad to see y'all. Stay safe out here, and I will see you next Saturday morning.